Tsutomu Yamaguchi stared out the window of the train. He was on his way to Hiroshima. It was 1945 and World War II raged. Yamaguchi, a young engineer, was on a business trip. He never imagined this trip would change his life forever. Yamaguchi arrived in Hiroshima on August 6th. It was a beautiful summer morning. He went straight to work at the shipyard. The city was bustling with activity. People went about their daily routines, unaware of the horror that was about to unfold. At 8:15 a.m., the world exploded. A blinding flash of light filled the sky. A deafening roar shook the ground. Yamaguchi was thrown from his feet. He blacked out instantly. Yamaguchi awoke to a scene of utter devastation. Buildings were reduced to rubble. Fires raged across the city. The air was thick with dust, smoke, and a strange metallic smell. Groaning, he picked himself up from the ground. His body ached, burned, and bled from countless small cuts. He stumbled through the ruins, searching for survivors. The streets were littered with bodies. Many were already dead. Others clung to life, their skin blackened and blistered. The air was filled with the cries of the injured and dying. Yamaguchi, dazed and confused, managed to find his way to a nearby shelter. He spent the night huddled with other survivors. They were all in shock, struggling to comprehend the magnitude of the disaster. What had happened? What was that terrible weapon? The next day, Yamaguchi began the long journey back to his hometown of Nagasaki. The train ride was a blur of pain and exhaustion. Every movement sent shooting pains through his body. The images of the burning city, the cries of the wounded, haunted his mind. He arrived in Nagasaki on August 8th. The city was eerily quiet. Most residents had fled, fearing an attack. Yamaguchi went straight to the hospital. Doctors were overwhelmed with casualties from Hiroshima. They had never seen injuries like this before. Yamaguchi described the events in Hiroshima to anyone who would listen. Most dismissed his story as exaggeration. Nobody could imagine a weapon so powerful. Nobody, that is, except Yamaguchi. He had seen it with his own eyes. On August 9th, Yamaguchi went to work at his office in Nagasaki. He was determined to return to normalcy, to put the horrors of Hiroshima behind him. As he sat at his desk, a familiar feeling washed over him, a blinding flash, a deafening roar. It was happening again. Yamaguchi threw himself under his desk just as the bomb detonated. The explosion ripped through Nagasaki with terrifying force. Buildings crumbled, fires erupted, the air filled with the same deadly heat, the same blinding light, the same metallic tang. Once again, Yamaguchi found himself amidst the ruins of a city. Dazed and disoriented, he stumbled out of his office building. The streets were littered with debris and bodies. The air was thick with dust and smoke. He had survived another atomic bomb. Yamaguchi, miraculously alive but severely injured, wandered through the devastated streets of Nagasaki. He searched for his family, for any sign of life. The city was a ghost town, shrouded in silence and despair. After days of searching, he found his family. They had survived the blast. Reunited, they sought refuge in a makeshift shelter. Yamaguchi, weak and traumatized, received basic medical attention. He was one of the lucky ones. As he recovered, Yamaguchi realized the horrific truth. He was perhaps the only person to have survived the full force of 2 atomic bombs. His survival was a miracle, but it came at a cost. He would carry the physical and emotional scars of that day for the rest of his life. In the years that followed, Yamaguchi dedicated his life to promoting peace and nuclear disarmament. He became known as a hibakusha, a survivor of the atomic bombings. He traveled the world, sharing his story, a stark reminder of the horrors of nuclear war. Yamaguchi's message was simple but powerful. No more Hiroshimas, no more Nagasakis. He spoke about the unimaginable suffering he witnessed, the long-term health effects of radiation poisoning, the devastating impact on families and communities. His story resonated with people around the globe. He became a symbol of hope and resilience, a living testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome adversity. Despite the horrors he witnessed, Yamaguchi never lost his faith in humanity's capacity for peace. Tsutomu Yamaguchi's story is a stark reminder of the devastating power of nuclear weapons. It is a story of survival, resilience, and the importance of peace. His experience underscores the urgent need for nuclear disarmament, for a world free from the threat of nuclear annihilation. Yamaguchi's legacy lives on, His story continues to inspire activists, policymakers, and everyday citizens to work towards a safer, more peaceful world. His message is more relevant today than ever before. In a world facing new threats and challenges, his call for peace remains a beacon of hope. Let us honor his memory by heeding his words and working together to create a world where no one has to endure the horrors he experienced. A world where peace prevails and the threat of nuclear war is but a distant memory.